You know, when we talk about leadership in the NFL, we're usually talking about yards gained, touchdowns scored, right? The stuff that happens on the field. But what happens when a coach's most important play call has nothing to do with the game at all? Today, we're going to dive into a pretty surprising story about the very public and very personal decision made by the then coach of the Tennessee Titans, Mike Vrabel.
And it all kicks off with this promise right here. Not a promise to win the Super Bowl, but a promise about personal strength. So, what exactly went down? What could possibly lead a top-tier NFL coach to make such a bold public commitment to change?
Okay, so the announcement itself, it was a real bombshell. I mean, think about it. It's the final, most crucial day of the NFL draft, one of the absolute craziest weekends for any team, and Mike Vrabel announces he's stepping away. He wouldn't be with the team. Just wow.
So, what was the catalyst for all this? Well, it turns out the New York Post had just dropped some photos that appeared to show the coach with a former reporter. And just like that, what might have been a media headline became something deeply, deeply personal. And right here, this is where you see the story pivot from the public eye to what's happening behind closed doors. Vrabel himself opens up, calling it a time for difficult conversations. And you got to look at who he's talking about here. This wasn't just a quiet family matter. He says the fallout touched everyone, his family, the organization, the coaches, and even the players in the locker room.
Look, anyone can face a crisis, but it's how you respond that really defines you, right? And Vrabel's response? It was all about taking ownership, head on. He laid out exactly why he was doing what he was doing.
And then he says this, which is just incredibly candid. He committed to seeking counseling. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. You know, in the culture of the NFL, this tough, stoic, hyper-masculine world, for a head coach to stand up and publicly say, "I need help," that is a huge, huge deal. For him, it was the only path forward.
But here's what makes this so important. He didn't frame this as just being about him. He actually framed it as an act of leadership. He basically said, hey, this is the exact advice I would give to one of my own players if they were in my shoes. He wasn't just talking the talk, he was walking the walk.
And this, right here, really gets to the core of everything. This wasn't just about managing a crisis, this was about what it truly means to lead by example. To show up with your actions and do what it takes to be the absolute best husband, father, and coach you can possibly be.
All right, so obviously a head coach doesn't just make a decision like this in a bubble. The whole organization is involved. So how did the Tennessee Titans react? Well, their response was immediate, and it was crystal clear.
The Titans put out a statement, and they threw their full support behind him. And if you look at the words they chose, it's really interesting. It echoes Vrabel's own language perfectly. They called it his commitment to being the best version of himself. That tells you they weren't looking at this as a disciplinary issue, but as a proactive, positive move.
So we've talked about the personal side, but what about the professional side? The impact was immediate. I mean, for a head coach to miss the last day of the draft, that's a big deal. So what was the game plan?
And believe me, the stakes were incredibly high. That Saturday, the Titans had 8 picks left on the board. That's a massive chunk of their new rookie class, a day that can literally shape the future of your team for years to come.
But you know what? The team was ready. Vrabel made it clear he had total confidence in his front office guys, specifically Eliot, the EVP of player personnel, and Ryan Cowden, the VP. They were the ones stepping up to run the show. The organization basically said, look, the homework is done, the evaluations are in, we're ready to go. You know, when you step back, this whole story is about so much more than just one coach or one draft day. It really makes you think and ask a pretty big question about what leadership even means today. We live in a world that always expects leaders to be strong, to be unflinching. But what does it actually mean to lead by example? Maybe, just maybe, true strength is having the courage to admit you need to step back for a moment so that you and everyone around you can truly move forward.